Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host Storm, and Nintendo recently announced they're making a mini NES. Not in the same sense as we've come to know what a smaller mini or slim console is. Instead of it being well, it is a smaller NES, but the way Nintendo's doing it, it's going to be a plug and play console. It's not going to be a regular NES that happens to be smaller. They've done it before in the past, I believe. They have in the past, but not to the same extent as this. They're officially calling this the Mini NES or the NES Mini. However, there was an official branding that goes along with it, but that's not really important. The Mini NES, like I said, it's going to be a plug and play console. Um, if you didn't know what a plug and play console is, it's just a small device that's going to be filled to the brim with games pre-installed. And usually a plug and play console isn't really all that great. I've had one before. I played with it a little bit before I accidentally broke it. Kind of wish I still had it, honestly, just to check it out a little bit. But a plug and play console, not very fun. They usually just put with clones, very bad clones actually, of mainstay games like say Snake uh, or Tetris or what have you. Just whatever cheap games that the developer can make, put into a simple device and then put it out there for like I don't know, $30 maybe, hoping some hopeless sap will buy it and somewhat enjoy it. But since this is Nintendo doing it, it's not going to be just a simple plug and play console. It is going to be a plug and play console, but it's not going to be in the same manner that we have all become accustomed to. If you have played a plug and play console before, uh, this mini NES, it's going to output an HDMI. It's going to connect to your TV using HDMI. So that's something actually completely new for a plug and play console. I think. I think actually it could be maybe not. As I recall, the Wii U was the first console to actually ship with an HDMI cable, so I could be wrong about that. But as far as I know, it's gonna be the first plug and play console to actually have HDMI out the box. So that's one nice thing about it. Assuming this is gonna be like with the Mega Man Legacy Collection, I guess you can refit the screen to fit your TV, so you can either have it like very slim with the black bars inside, or you can have it slim, the screen I mean, but have maybe some sort of background, just some sort of background to frame the picture. Like again, for the Mega Man Legacy Collection, you can have this kind of image of Mega Man and Roll, and I forget what the dog's name is. Sorry, I'm not up to date on my Mega Man lore. Something like that. I think Dr. Light was in it as well. Or you can have it stretched out to fit a full HD screen. You can do that. I've gone back either way. I think for the Mega Man Legacy Collection, at least, I've been using the full screen, and presumably you can do that with the Mini NES. It's going to come pre-installed with 30 games, and according to Nintendo, there are no plans to add any more games to it via maybe like, well, presumably the game's gonna be saved to maybe like some sort of SD card or something. So, but there are no plans to release maybe more of these SD cards, then put them into an NES Mini, and swap out the games anytime you want to. In that other case, you might as well just use any NES cards that you already have, or at the very least, they might as well just make it be able to connect online and download any new games. Or we're going this far with it, might as well get an emulator, I guess. But I don't know, emulation just isn't the same. It's gonna have, like I said, it's gonna have 30 games pre-installed on the system, and those 30 games being Balloon Fight. Never played. No, actually, I have played Balloon Fight before. One time ever in my life. To this day, I still have no idea how the fuck the game is played, but apparently it has some sort of legacy with fans, so a lot of people looking forward to that. I guess I'll have to check it out myself again. Bubble Bobble, which I don't really recall much. Bubble Bob. Wait. Bubble Bobble is. Hold on a second. I'm actually looking at something up on my web browser right now. Bubble Bobble. If this is what I think it is. That's what I thought. Okay. Bubble Bobble is the game with No. Let me. Whoa, I'm way off. Dude, I'm way. Bubble Bobble is not what I thought it was. I think I'm thinking Buster Groove or Buster Move or what it was called. Okay, forget what I was gonna say. Bubble Bob is not what I was thinking of, but it's gonna have Bubble Bobble, Jesus, in it. Castlevania, which I have wanted to play. Honestly, I never played any of the Castlevania games. I want to get into that series. Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Again, I want to get into the Castlevania game, so I'll play that. Donkey Kong. Played that before, I'm thinking arcade or... I played it before, I don't remember where I played it before, but I'll be happy to jump back into it. Donkey Kong Jr., if I remember correctly, please don't be the one I'm thinking of. Donkey... Oh, no, wait. Oh, no, that is the one. Yeah, Donkey Kong Jr. is the one where Mario captures Donkey Kong, and so Donkey Kong Jr. has to go and save him. Uh, and do I want to play this one? I mean, it's very different from the original Donkey Kong game. Rather than having climbing up ladders and dodging bells and everything, getting hammered to destroy bells in your way and everything. It's moving platforms. I don't know about that. I'll try it, I guess. Double Dragon 2: The Revenge. Why not the first Double Dragon? No idea. I'm not sure if I played Double Dragon before, but I have played other side-scroller beat 'em up games similar to Double Dragon, and I'll jump into that and check it out. Dr. Mario. I never played Dr. Mario itself, but I have played the Dr. Mario clones like Puyo Pop Fever. Well, I played Puyo Pop Fever, but what I'm saying is that I played other games like Dr. Mario. Doesn't play the same as that's what I played. It was a Sonic. God damn it! It was a Sonic game that was basically a Dr. Mario clone, which I think is doubly ironic considering the rivalry between Sega and Nintendo at the time. What was it called? Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, something like that. Come on. Jesus. Yeah, that's it. That's what it was. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. That's the one I played. Basically a Dr. Mario clone. Does not play anything like Pokemon Puzzle League, which disappointed the hell out of me. But then again, Pokemon Puzzle League itself is a clone of another game, whose name escapes me right now, but doesn't matter. I'll try Dr. Mario, I guess. I couldn't really wrap my head around Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I guess I was too young to figure it out, but I can try it again this time, I suppose. With Dr. Mario, that is. Excitebike. I played Excitebike back with Excitebike 64. For those of you who don't know, Excitebike 64 actually had an emulator for... Well, I don't know if it was... Well, no, I got the emulator is probably the right term. Regardless, Excitebike 64 back when N64 actually had the original Excitebike on it, and that's where I first played it. And I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it enough, but I think I preferred Excitebike 64 since that was 3D and generally the gameplay was a little better, a little more refined. I think, especially for a 3D environment. Anyway, I didn't hate the original Excitebike, but I kind of like Excitebike 64 better. So, the original Final Fantasy, which I'm definitely gonna play. I never played the NES. No, I have played the NES version. Oh shit, dude! I want to play the NES version. I played the original NES version before. Ugh, Christ. I think it was less so maybe the graphics and more so like the menu layout, which kind of threw me. It was just kind of weird trying to navigate through all of it. And you know what? Actually, and the graphics may have been a part of the problem too. I mean, I didn't mind the graphics, but I think the graphics combined with the way the menus were laid out just threw me, and I just don't think I could have wrapped my head around it. I didn't play it for long. I tried it out for a second because I wanted to play the original version of the original Final Fantasy. Didn't take to it. So I kind of just quit, like, almost immediately. Got into like a couple of fights, and I thought, you know what, I'm not doing this. Ah, Christ, man. The Final Fantasy Anniversary Edition on PSP that came out years ago is still like the definitive version of that game. That's the best version of the game, period. And for some reason, Square like refuses to release it digitally for PlayStation Vita. I would love to play that again on PlayStation Vita. I still have actually. I have the PS1 version digitally on my PS3. That's fine, but and I'm not a graphics store. I'm really not. But when you look at the visuals for Final Fantasy One and Final Fantasy Two on PSP, you just can't beat it. Like it's just impossible to beat it. Honestly, like I think the farthest back I'd probably play would be Final Fantasy One and Two, Dawn of Souls on GBA, but it, again on PSP so much. I can't wait to actually pick up a PSP and like physical copies of those games again just to play through them. Square did release those games digitally in Japan, but not anywhere else for PSP, and that bothers the hell out of me. And yes, I know it's a technically speaking it's available on iOS, but I'm not getting it on iOS. I want it on for my Vita. I don't want to play it on iOS. I don't want to fucking do that. I really don't play mobile games on my phone or tablet, and that goes like I think that'll be well for like the Final Fantasy games. I'm not gonna play them on tablet or phone. But off that subject for a second, I'm surprised honestly it's just the original Final Fantasy and not two and three as well. Out of the original Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy 3 was the best one, honestly. Gameplay wise, story wise. Actually, well, yeah, story wise. Final Fantasy 3 was the best out of the three. It's the game that introduced the job system, which is just so much fun to play around with, customizing your characters and then their roles in the game. And again, it did have the best story out of the original games. Again, I haven't played the original NES version of Final Fantasy 3, so I don't know how exactly to compare it to like the DS remake that came out years and years later, which I think I still have that. If I don't have, I bought the game digitally for my Vita anyway. They poured the game to PSP a few years later. I have that in for my PlayStation Vita. So if I can't find the DS version, I don't know if I have no idea if I still have it. But I can still play the remake on my Vita. But again, my point is, the Vita remake changed a few things. So story wise, it's a bit more in depth, I believe, than the original NES version of the game. But again, I don't know for sure since I never played the original NES version, and which leads me back to I'm surprised it's only the first Final Fantasy and not two and three. As much as I don't like two, I would probably be willing to play through it again on this NES Mini, and then probably quit after 5 minutes because I fucking despise Final Fantasy two. They just the stat based leveling just gets on my nerves. I didn't like it when I played The Elder Scrolls. I didn't like it when I played Final Fantasy two. I don't like stat based leveling. That's just me. Maybe you like it. I personally don't. Final Fantasy, I beat Final Fantasy two all the way to the end, but I just couldn't stand the stat based leveling. And the way stat based leveling works, it's kind of easy to kind of break the game early on if you know what you're doing. Just try and cause some sort of continuous loop of actions in order to increase your strength and HP and magic and everything from a very early stage in the game, and you can probably just blow through the game entirely, which is probably part of the reason that Square never used stat-based leveling again in the series, or at least the main series. I mean, I don't know about any spin-offs or side games that they may have done it with. Anyway, Galaga. I played Galaga before. I don't think on the NES. No, not on the NES. Play. Oh shit! God damn, am I forgetting again? I say Galaga, but I'm probably thinking of. Hold on. Galaga. Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. Yes, I played Galaga before, not NES. I think I played in arcade before, I think, and maybe some other systems. Fun game, classic game. If anything, I think Galaga is better than Space Invaders. It's a little faster. I think it's in ways more challenging, especially since you have enemy ships who can capture your ship and hold it against you, and then you can like destroy the ships to get your original ship back, and then you can be just blazing around with two ships, two blasts firing off, back to back. So I think in that case, and in that sense, rather, Galaga is a lot more fun to me, a lot more fast paced. Ghosts and Goblins. Never played it, but I've heard how infamously difficult it is. You only get like 2 hits before you're killed, and after I have no idea what happens. Did you start the whole game over again? I don't recall exactly. Sir Arthur, I think his name is. He starts out the game in his armor, then gets hit. He's down to his underwear. Then he hits again, dead. And to add insult to injury, not only is that game just incredibly difficult, but you can't get the true ending for the game unless you beat it twice on a much harder difficulty. I don't know how well I'm gonna stick with that. I don't know how long I can stick with that, but I will try. But I have a feeling, considering it being me, I'm gonna play for 10 minutes and then think, okay, that's enough of that. Let's move on to something else. Let's go to Final Fantasy. As a matter of fact, I love that game series. Let's go back to that and let's leave this fucking thing, this monstrosity, alone, like forever. Gradius. Ah, why am I not up to date on my? I know Gradius. Why don't I know it enough? Gradius is, and I don't get a visual for this. Hold on. Original Gradius. Oh, it's a side-scrolling shooter. I could do that. Yeah, I like side-scrolling shooters. Yeah, endless shooters. Not like endless runners, but I could probably do that. Gradius. No, I definitely never played Gradius before. I played Galaga a lot, but I never played Gradius. So that's gonna be a new experience for me. Ice Climbers. I never played Ice Climbers before. I know the Ice Climbers from Super Smash Brothers. That's I know they're from the original game, but I never played Ice Climbers before, so that's something new for me too. Also, not a big deal, not a deal breaker, but when Ice Climbers were confirmed to not be returning for Super Smash Brothers 4, a lot of people were disappointed. I have no idea these people who had like nostalgia for the original Ice Climber game, or maybe they like using the Ice Climbers themselves in Super Smash Brothers, but when they were confirmed to not be coming back, it was disappointing for a lot of people. I never cared for them though, honestly. I didn't hate them, but like those are characters that I never actually picked. So it's like some fans who are big fans of the Ice Climbers, but it didn't really affect me. So what are you gonna do? Kid Icarus. I never played Kid Icarus. I've got nothing against Pit or anything. Kid Icarus, the new Kid Icarus game that came out not too long ago for 3DS looks pretty cool, and I definitely kind of want to check that out. But being me, I also wanted to check out the original Kid Icarus first, so before I just jumped ahead to like the most recent installment. But considering the way games were back then, again, I haven't played Kid Icarus before, so hell if I know. But the way games were back then, Kid Icarus probably had something of a thin story, probably only an opening cutscene, maybe a middle cutscene in somewhere in the game where it's like, "Good job, Pit. Keep going. You beat this boss. Now you're almost at the end of the game. Just keep going." Final boss fight, you beat the boss, and some kind of bullshit ending cutscene to make you feel good for doing for spending all that time trying to go through the game. Again, hell if I know. I never played Kid Icarus before, but I'll see. I'll try it out. I'll check it out. Kirby's Adventure. I never played too many Kirby games before, honestly. Have I played any before? I'm not entirely sure, actually. I might not have. Maybe one in my entire life I played. But I haven't played too many Kirby games. I'm looking forward to that. I like Kirby, so I'm definitely gonna check out that game and play it. Mario Brothers. Now I played Mario Brothers before. I absolutely do not care for the series. I'm pretty sure they only did like two games from Mario Brothers, not Super Mario Brothers, but Mario Brothers, the original Mario Brothers. It's the one where it's Mario and Luigi, like underground in the sewers, fighting enemies, like kicking them off the railings and hitting with the power button and everything. Power button. That game. I didn't care for that game, honestly. I played it before. I'm playing. I was like, I don't care about this. I like Super Mario Bros. I don't like this game. This game doesn't really appeal to me. I'm not knocking fans who may like that game, but I didn't care for it. So maybe I'll fuck around with it for like a second, but I don't really see myself playing that too much, so I'm not even gonna bother with it. Oh Jesus Christ! I just saw what else is on this list. I just jumped ahead for a second. You know what? Since I just saw it, Pac-Man is going to be on this system. As I recall, the NES version of Pac-Man was god fucking awful. It looks almost looking like Pac-Man. It, I think they changed all the sound effects too from the original arcade version. Jesus Christ, why is that going to be in the list? I'll play it. I'll play it. I like Pac-Man. I'm not going to be happy about it. So, Mega Man 2. I guess I played. I had the Mega Man Legacy Collection. That's the first 6 games. Or first five, 6 games. I could play it, but I had the Mega Man Legacy Collection on my PS4. So if I'm gonna beat the game, I'd rather do it on my PS4 because I'll get a trophy out of doing that. Which reminds me, the trophies for Mega Man Legacy Collection are kind of bullshit. At least the ones for beating the games. One bronze trophy for beating each game. Jesus Christ, what the fuck is that? That just annoys me. I'm gonna keep playing everything, Trophies aren't everything. I understand that, but considering how difficult these games are, a bronze trophy for each game. At least bump up to a silver. Capcom, Jesus, the games are hard, aren't they? Get some air conditioning. Metroid. I have never played Metroid before. No, I can jump myself. I played Metroid Zero Mission, which was a remake of the original game on GBA. I played that years and years ago. Didn't get far in it at all. My cousin had the game. He let me play for a second. Messed around with it for a second. I liked it, but again, I didn't really find. I was just fucking around in the game. And I played Metroid Prime back on GameCube, which is starkly different from the original 2 or 3 Metroid games that came out. Uh, Everyone loves Metroid Prime. I liked it too, but again, that was years ago. I don't really remember it much. I should try and pick that up from my GameCube actually, if I can find it somewhere. Uh, Ninja Gaiden. I don't know about that game. I've seen the original Ninja Gaiden. Uh, from what I recall, Hideo Kojima actually doesn't like the original 2 Ninja Gaiden games. No, no. Jesus, that's Metal Gear Solid. I'm thinking Metal Gear Solid. Ninja Gaiden was a side scroller. Fuck. What the hell am I thinking? Ninja Gaiden was a side scroller game. I'm thinking Metal Gear Solid. Christ. But even still, well, if I could play Strider, I've been playing the remake of Strider on my PS4. So if I could play that, I could probably play Ninja Gaiden, I guess. We'll see how I feel with that though. I don't know. Punch Out featuring Mr. Dream, not Mike Tyson, unfortunately, which sucks. I mean, I think until digital gaming had come out with that episode for Punch Out, I was completely unaware of all the different Punch Out games. Honestly, uh, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, I think it's how most people know it. It has Mike Tyson on the cover, and in the game you fight him. Also, Mario is referee for some weird reason, but that was awesome because that's one thing. That's one of the things Nintendo always does, having those weird crossovers with the other game series. So having Mario in the Punch Out game as a referee was really cool. And in the Wii remake, if you can even consider it a remake or not just maybe just an installment of the series, spoiler alert in case you haven't played it yet, you get to fight against Donkey Kong as a special fight in the Wii version of Punch Out, which is just a very epic thing. Being able to fight against, of all people, Donkey Kong, a giant fucking gorilla with just beefy arms, just throwing hammers at you in the game. Apparently, they're gonna have Peach as the secret boss of the game, or secret fighting game anyway. But apparently, Nintendo thought that you punching a girl over and over again would probably be in bad taste, so they scrapped that idea, which disappoints the hell out of me. That would have been fun to do. I mean, just seeing Peach in the game. I like Peach. It would be fun to have her in the game to fight against her in the boxing match, and maybe even use her as a character after you beat her or something. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the very least, maybe Nintendo could have made it so you're not. So when you're fighting her, you're not like just giving her fucking black eyes left and right. I mean, after the fight's ended, you could just have her like maybe a little bit bruised or something, maybe sweating a bit. Just not. Maybe her hair is ruffled. She doesn't have to be looking. She doesn't have to look like she came out of an actual boxing match. But, that she did take a few hits. I don't know. I'm just saying it would be cool to have Peach in the game. So, moving on. Star Tropics. I've heard of Star Tropics. Never played it. Looking it up again. Oh boy, this is actually going to be good. You know, who cares? It doesn't matter. Super C or Super Contra, apparently. I played Contra before. I played, excuse me. I played Contra before, other versions of Contra. Never Super Contra. So, that was something. That was something to do. A lot of people disappointed that isn't the original Contra. The original Contra is apparently considered to be the best game in the series. And not that Super Contra itself is bad, but people are thinking, well, the original Contra was better. So it's disappointing that that's not in the game. It could be a licensing dispute between Nintendo and developers for Contra. So that could be a reason. Who knows? Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3. I did a video a while ago about how I finally beat the original Super Mario Brothers on my 3DS. I bought the game on 3DS and played it, beat it. And I'll go through it again on the NES Mini. I'll be more than happy to go through it again. I never played 2 and 3, actually. Never played those. And I'm curious as to whether or not this is going to be the real Super Mario Bros. 2 or the Doki Doki Panic reskin that they gave us. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, when Super Mario Bros. 2 came out, Japan Nintendo was worried that Super Mario Bros. 2 was going to be too difficult for non-Japanese players to play, particularly those in North America. So since Super Mario Bros. Was new, Nintendo didn't want to maybe alienate any new coming fans to the series, or maybe people who are already fans to begin with. They played Super Mario Bros. 1, beat it, and were happy and were excited for Super Mario Bros. 2. But Nintendo was thinking, it was too hard. Maybe they don't want to play anymore, and doing any future games, they'll be turned off by the series. So to fix this, Nintendo took an old game that no one really knew about, at least outside Japan anyway, Doki Doki Panic, reskinned it with Mario characters, and put that out there as Super Mario Bros. 2. Doki Doki Panic is kind of more of a traditional platformer, at least maybe for the times anyway, where you can pick up enemies, pick up items, throw them at enemies, jump on enemies, climb up like vines and everything, jump on, I think, clouds, and like ride them across, like, video game logic, who gives a fuck? Ride them across the screen to like the next area, that sort of thing. No one knew it was a reskin of a different game. No one really cared, and Super Mario Bros. 2 did very well outside Japan. But then it came out some years later that wasn't the real Super Mario Bros. 2. That was actually a reskin of another game. And then Nintendo actually did release the real Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels on GBA, I believe it was, or was it maybe it could be Game Boy Color though. And a lot of people, it was really difficult, but there were a lot of people who preferred that to what we received as Super Mario Bros. 2 outside Japan. Again, I wouldn't know either way. I haven't played either of those games, either the reskin Doki Doki Panic or the real Super Mario Bros. 2. And that was Super Mario Bros. 3. So that's going to be an experience for me either way. And again, I'm wondering, is this going to be real Super Mario Bros. 2 or is it going to be the reskin Doki Doki Panic? I can see history repeating itself, honestly. Like in Japan, it's going to be the real Super Mario Bros. 2, but outside Japan, it's going to be Doki Doki Panic again. And if that's the case, like, what's the point then? I've looked up Super Mario Bros. 2 on my own, apparently. If that's the case, I hope it's not. I hope it's going to be the real version of the game. Tecmo Bowl, football game. Not really a sports fan, but I could try it out, I suppose. And again, I'm hearing people saying that Super Tecmo Bowl was the better game. So there's like 2 games in here that people are saying not bad, but like the predecessor or the successor was a better game. Super Contra was better than Super Contra. Super Tecmo Bowl was better than the original Tecmo Bowl. And the games that I'm including in the Mini NES aren't bad, but it's just that we would kind of prefer the other versions of the game. So, The Legend of Zelda. I did a video a while ago saying how I finally beat the game. It was difficult, but it was rewarding in a sense that, Zelda is such a staple in video games, and for Nintendo itself, so it was kind of something of a badge of honor to finally having completed that game. And Jesus Christ, like I said before, hard as fuck. I cannot figure out for the life of me how to. You need a guide for that game. I have no idea anyone can figure out that game without a guide. You have to go get the silver arrow. You have to go get the raft. You have to go get the cannon. Jesus Christ. If anyone can figure that game out, first time playing that game, for anyone ever, if you can figure it out without using a guide, kudos to you, because I fucking couldn't. I had to look up a guide. I kept going to the Zelda wiki and Game Facts, looking up guides to figure out what the fuck I'm doing. And Zelda 2: The Eventual Link. Again, in that video I mentioned before, where I talked about The Legend of Zelda, I mentioned I was not interested in playing Zelda 2, honestly. Because I've seen Zelda 2, I've seen what it looks like, I'm not interested in playing the game at all. It's for some weird reason, they took away the original gameplay of the original Zelda, and for Zelda 2, it plays like Dragon Quest, which is a very odd choice. It still sold very well, still got plenty of praise, but I don't know, if I want to play a Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy-like game, I will play Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy. Probably mostly Final Fantasy. I'm not really a Dragon Quest fan, to be honest, but that's another story. I'm really not interested in playing Zelda 2. It's going to be there on the Mini NES. I'll check it out, I guess, but I'm just pretty much just going to jump ahead to A Link to the Past, honestly. I played that a couple times before. I've dabbled in it a couple times before. That's what I'm going to focus on next for the Zelda series. Trying to work my way forward from there. Yeah, I'm interested in Zelda 2, honestly. So yeah, so those are going to be the 30 games included in the Mini NES. And it really is... this is the kind of thing I've always wanted to do. Like, if I'm getting a system, right, I want it to have, like, those staple games. Like, if you get an NES, you have to have Super Mario Brothers. You have to have the original Final Fantasy, Punch-Out, Zelda. You have to have those games. Those are staples of the system. Similar like N64, as a matter of fact. Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Smash Brothers, Super Mario Kart 64. Those are staples of the system. You can't have an N64 and not have those games. Ironically enough, I don't have any of those games. What are you gonna do? But that's, you know, it's that mentality that I have for a game system. Like my PS3, my PS4. If you have a PS3, for instance, let's say you have to have God of War 3, you have to have Uncharted 2, you have to have what's on my shelf? I'm thinking like video game staples, right? Not just getting its own system that's interesting to play. You know, Ratchet and Clank, as a matter of fact. The Ratchet and Clank Future Trilogy is something that you should have on PS3. You know, that sort of thing. And so, the Mini NES is kind of doing that. It's taking those staple games, those games that everyone, if you had an NES, these are games you should have had, these are the games you should have played. And instead of packaging them all together in this smaller, compact console and giving it to everyone to play. The system sells itself for $60, which is the same price as a brand new video game these days, new from GameStop or something. Although I don't know why you would shop there. The GameStop that I usually go to is kind of a shit show, honestly. But that's again another story for another time. Fortunately or unfortunately, the system is not going to use the original NES controllers. It's going to come with new NES controllers, but they're not going to be the same ones you used back in the original NES. They're going to plug in using a different plug-in system function. It's not going to be the original ports that you use on the NES. It's something different. So if you have NES controllers, unfortunately you can't use them. But at the same time, these new ones are only going to cost about $10 each. So I think the system's going to come with at least one, and then $10 for any additional controllers. Which, you know what, fine with me. $10 for a fully functional controller. Also, I believe you can. I think you could use the classic controller from the Wii U with the Mini NES, or the new NES controllers with the Wii U. I don't remember exactly. I think it's the opposite. I think you can use the classic controller and classic Pro controller for the Wii U with the Mini NES if you want to go that route. But yeah, so anyway, I guess in case you haven't noticed, I am getting this system. I never had an NES before. I'm gonna get this one. I'm gonna get this one though. I'm a little disappointed though. Just for me, I kind of want a full NES, not a plug and play console. I mean, the fact that it's a plug and play console kind of bothers me honestly, but at the same time, it's like, well, it is technically an NES. This is done by Nintendo. This is some This isn't some fifth party shit from China or something. No offense to China. Some weird bootleg shit with a bunch of weird clones of the games or like illegally downloaded ROMs or something. You know, it's the real thing. It's the full games and everything. But I don't know. The plug and play nature of it just kind of bothers me. I'd rather have a full NES. I'll try and find one if I can, and Christ forbid if I can actually get in the actual cartridges for the games. But I probably won't be able to. Um, and hopefully this sets a precedent, honestly, because if Nintendo is doing this, if Nintendo does this with the NES, hopefully they will continue to do. They'll do this for maybe future games, future systems in the library. Like people are already hoping they do this with the SNES, and honestly, I hope so too. SNES, maybe the N64, possibly the GameCube. I doubt the GameCube could do that. And maybe they could do it. Uh, yeah, but hopefully this sets something up for the future. Uh, Especially since the official branding for the system is in the US it's gonna be called the Nintendo Entertainment System NES Classic Edition, and the Nintendo Classic Mini Nintendo Entertainment System in Europe and Australia, which is kind of weird. The way it's that's phrased makes it seem like this is the first step. Nintendo will be coming out with like an SNES and hopefully an N64 version of mini versions of those consoles. Hopefully, and they do that. This could set a precedent for maybe Sony and Microsoft to come out with like. Well, Sony came out and did a mini PS1 mini, the small white PS1. But still, they could do something like this. Sony could probably put out like a mini PS1, right, and have maybe the top 30 games for that, depending on storage space anyway. Top 30 games for that, like all 4 Final Fantasies that came out with that system, 7, 8, 9, and Tactics, all 3 Crash Bandicoots, all 3 Spyro games, Command and Conquer. I was a fan of Command and Conquer, like the one time I played it anyway. The Resident Evil games, all those games, like PS1, maybe PS2. We can see something like that, and hopefully this could actually, if this does become kind of a standard in the future, we could see something. Hopefully this could maybe stop the price gouging for classic games. When GameStop announced they were going to start selling retro consoles and games, it wasn't exactly met with, which is interesting because this is GameStop we're talking about. When they announced they were going to do retro gaming, it wasn't exactly met with derision or revulsion rather, from a lot of people. Some people are actually looking at it thinking, well, the way GameStop operates, even though they fuck people over with prices, if they do this could kind of put a staunch in retro gaming's prices. Because if you tried to hunt down retro games for NES, N64, PS1, even PS2, or even the consoles themselves, you'll sometimes find that those consoles and games will kind of be priced ridiculously. Like $200, $300 for like a used PS1 or NES or something. Used system, not even the box. It's the system, at least one controller and the AV cables and power cord, and maybe one game, but those games would be kind of overpriced as fuck, right? On Amazon anyway, and Amazon is the last place you should be going for retro gaming. But I saw on Amazon they wanted $300 for Donkey Kong Country 64. $300 for that game. I'm not saying that's a bad game. It's a great game. I played before. I love that game. But really, $300 for Donkey Kong Country 64. No one's gonna pay for that. So some people are still looking at GameStop thinking, maybe they can stop that. Maybe they'll charge like what, $20, $25 for Donkey Kong 64. People will do that. I'll buy that. Donkey Kong Country 64. But as it turns out, as some people should have expected, I kind of expected, GameStop's definition of retro gaming. Actually, it's not even the definition of retro gaming. It's the price thing. They wanted like top dollar for some retro games. I think I remember Super Mario 64. It's not 64. Yeah, Super Mario 64 selling for close to like brand new $60, I think, which people were just insulted by. I could be wrong about that. Someone can correct me. But if Nintendo's doing something like this, where they're putting these mini consoles out there, with the best games on it. I guess your definition of best is would be somewhat subjective. This could help things a bit. Kind of help people get back into retro gaming and get people into retro gaming for the first time. Get people to play these older systems. The barrier of entry is much lower. $60 for 30 games. That's a fucking steal. Who could turn that down? $60 could buy you one awesome game, sure, like a Final Fantasy 15 maybe. That's gonna be a fucking amazing as shit game. No one's denying that. I guess depending on what you're looking for, $60 for Final Fantasy 15, which is gonna be open world. I believe 40 to 60 hours as far as the story goes. I've been hearing 200 hours as far as like side quests and everything goes. We'll see. I'll double check that. You could, yeah, but again, 60 games could buy you 30. $60 can buy you 30 games right here. So again, it depends on what you want. Do you want to get into retro gaming for $60 for 30 of these awesome games, or do you want to spend your games $60 on Final Fantasy 15? I'm not saying Final Fantasy 15 is going to be bad or anything. I've talked about this before. It's going to be fucking amazing, but it depends on what you want to do, honestly. And again, the barrier of entry is lower for retro gaming, and this week I set a precedent for other companies to do the same thing. Maybe not Sega. I'm pretty sure they have the console gaming business at all. But again, we releasing these older games cheaply, physically cheaply, mind you, not just like on PSN or the virtual console where you can buy some of the older maybe SNES or N64 games or PS1 and PS2 games. I mean, it's a physical console in front of you. With the game, but admittedly the games are downloaded onto the console, but it's physical in front of you. You're seeing the system, you're holding it, touching it, and you have to control it in your hand, messing around with it. I mean, that's something that a lot of people will get into. I would too, especially, even though, like I just said before, the fact that the NES Mini is a plug-and-play console just kind of bothers me. I mean, it's not a deal breaker. Don't get me wrong. I'll still buy it, but I just wish it would function like a regular NES would. That's just how I feel about that. And re-releasing these games, especially since this is Nintendo doing it, re-releasing these games can actually help a lot as far as, again, like I said, the price thing is going, because shit. Pokemon Go has had a very adverse effect on the used game market as far as Pokemon goes. Because of Pokemon Go, the demand for the older Pokemon handheld games for DS, 3DS, well, not 3DS, and for DS at least, those prices have become jacked the fuck up. Right? I saw that news report. I saw that on Reddit. The prices for some games are going up a fuck ton a lot. I went to Amazon immediately. I went to eBay immediately on my phone. And Jesus Christ, I'm seeing Soul Silver being sold for like $60, $70, $80. Swear to God, I saw someone trying to sell. I think this was eBay, trying to sell Hard Gold and Soul Silver in the box for $1,000. Jesus Christ! And I've been wanting to buy those games again, honestly, to fill in the gaps in my collection. I'm missing a few games from my Pokemon collection. Pardon me. The DS era and the DS 3DS era, anyway. Diamond Pearl. I had Platinum, thankfully. I needed Black 2. I need White. Black 2. I think I have White 2. I need Hard Gold. I just... There's some gaps I want to fill in. And now it's going to be a little bit harder because it's far more expensive because of Pokemon Go. And this circles back to what I'm saying before. And Nintendo releasing these games themselves, it can help just lower the prices for a lot of these retro systems and consoles. I've been hoping like hell Nintendo would release Gold, Silver, and Crystal on the 3DS. Red, Blue, and Yellow were awesome. But after playing through Pokemon Red again on my 3DS, I cannot go back to Gen 1 Pokemon games. It is terrible. And it's not the graphics that bother me. It's the Gen 1 Pokemon games are just so fucking restrictive to what they let you do. The Pokemon moves, the glitches and bugs everywhere, it's just so fucking ridiculous. I cannot go back to Gen 1. I will play Fire Red and Leaf Green all day, but I cannot play Red, Blue, and Yellow. I'm just hoping like hell Nintendo will release Gold, Silver, and Crystal, and maybe like Gen 3 through Gen 5 games. I'm hoping like hell for that because I've been wanting to play through the series again, and I would totally buy those digitally for my 3DS and play them, and hopefully somehow make it so you can transfer Pokemon between games. on the system, not between two different 3DSs, like on the system. So if I have like Ruby and Sapphire, but somehow I can link the two games together on my 3DS, on the one 3DS, and trade Pokemon in between them. That'd be helpful. I love that a lot. Uh, but anyway, NES Mini. Looking forward to it. I'm definitely gonna pick it up. Uh, it's something that I won't say is needed, but I think it's a step in the right direction. To kind of help that these games don't become lost and forgotten in the future. I think it's kind of important that we kind of preserve games like these, and re-releasing them, especially in this fashion, I think is a very nice touch by Nintendo. They could have put them up in the virtual console for like $4 or $5 each, but uh, they're doing it this way. Again, $60, 30 games. It's a no-brainer, I think. Uh, so that's all I have to say about it. Hopefully, this can help bring an end to like the price gouging in the retro gaming. Hopefully, it does that. Uh, I'll check it out. I'll pick it up as soon as I can when it comes out. It comes out this November, I believe, and I will give my thoughts on it. Any thoughts that you guys have? Let me know in the comment section. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whether you think I'm crazy for like thinking this is awesome, whether you think I'm crazy for wanting to release the Pokemon games on 3DS, and whether you think Pokemon Go actually is good or bad. I've been playing it a little bit. Yeah, it's okay. Not terrible, but I do get a lot of people. There should be a lot more stuff added to it. Battles or maybe Gen 2 Pokemon added eventually. It's an okay game. But anyway, I've talked enough. I've talked long enough. And I'll talk to you guys later.